What's going on, guys? Sumi here with ThoughtCast, and today I'm going to talk about one of the biggest killers in business that I see with a lot of young people. There are so many young people that reach out to me and they ask me, how do I make $1 million? How do I make $100,000? How do I make a lot of money, and how do I become very successful? This is a logistical question. Like, we all want to make money because we all want to live a higher quality of life. We all want to be able to give back to the people that we love and care about. For whatever reason, you want to elevate your financial situation, and I love that. I think it's a wonderful thing. I think one of the biggest things that people need to do is elevate their financial situation. And I talk about it with my 7 layers of life. But the big thing I'm gonna tell you is a lot of people mess up for 3 major reasons. Number 1, they cannot be disciplined enough to start a business. Number 2, they're not disciplined enough to stick to the business. And number 3, they're not disciplined enough to scale out the business. So let's break this down. First and foremost, a lot of people have a lot of good ideas. Like, a lot of people think about wonderful ideas that could make them millions, if not billions of dollars. You'd be surprised. We all have good ideas because we're all dealing with problems on a day-to-day basis. And those problems that you're dealing with are literally million-dollar ideas. If you can solve the problems in your life with a certain idea, invention, so on and so forth, you can make money from it because the likelihood that somebody else is dealing with the same problem is very high. So one thing I want you to understand is people have good ideas. The problem is they don't know how to implement it, and they don't know where to start. They don't even know if they can start. A lot of people that I know that have these wonderful ideas, they don't start. They don't do anything about it. They just have that idea and throw it away. They don't act on it. And I'm gonna tell you right now, momentum is very important if you want to be an entrepreneur and a businessman. If you have a good idea, you have to act on it immediately, very quickly. Speed is very important in business. And it's not necessarily speed to implement the idea because somebody else is gonna steal it. It's speed to make sure that you stay focused and that you stay engaged in the process and the drive to get that idea out there and to get it up and running. When you're starting a business, you have to be quick. You cannot stagnate and really plan it too much. You also can't plan too little when you're setting up the business. You have to have the right amount of drive, the right amount of motivation, and the right amount of incentive to really make the idea really happen. I think a lot of people, when they think about starting an idea, they think about it, but when they think about all the things they have to do to get it going, they get overwhelmed, they get stressed out, and they drop the idea. This is where people fail. They think that they have to have everything lined up and be perfect in order to execute the idea. The secret to this is no, you just have to start. You just have to take the first step. You don't need to build out every part of the business in order to get it going. You just have to have one part where you can profit off of and be able to manage the overhead. Once you have that going, once you have that one process set up for you, then you can just start the business and you can build on as you progress. You don't need to have everything built out at once. You don't need to have the best restaurant. You don't have to have the best setup. You don't have to have the best computers. You don't have to have the best software. You don't have to have all these things. Just start. The first step is the hardest to take. And once you start, you're gonna see that it becomes easier. The first step in any business is the most difficult one, and a lot of people don't even take this. Number 2, the discipline to stick to it. Many people that I know that are entrepreneurs in life, they hop around from business to business to business. And the reality is when you start something new, you're probably not gonna be very good. So for a large period of their business life, they're trying new things and learning new things that they're not good at. And that means they just generally suck at business. I'm just keeping it real. If you stick to something for a long period of time, the reality is it's going to be something that grows very slowly, but you're going to get good at it. And as you become better at it, you're able to outlast the competition. See, a lot of industries are industries where you can become a millionaire very easily. You just have to stick the test of time. It's not about a get-rich-quick scheme. It's about a get-rich-for-sure scheme. If you just stick to something for 3 years and you don't let up on it, eventually after 3 years, you should see some profit. That's my rule, 3 years. So I'll put in 3 years into a business and I'll give it everything. And if I'm not seeing any large amount of profit or anything that's substantial, then I'll walk away from it. And I know that I put in 3 years and I've tried it. But the reality is, even if I see a little bit of profit, I know that if I'm making 100,000 or 50,000 or whatever it might be, I can scale that money out and I can grow that income and allow myself to really multiply whatever I'm doing. People give up too quickly. They start something, they love it, they're motivated, and then they don't see the money and they start to lose focus. That's where a lot of people fail. But the reality is, if you want to be really successful in life, if you want to be a millionaire, if you want to really crush it and dominate, you have to be willing to stick through the boring times, stick through the times that are just okay, and also stay there when the business is doing well and you're growing. You have to be able to stick it out. So stop switching up on the businesses that you're in and start staying focused and locked in on what you do. Last but not least is scaling out. Here's one of the most difficult things to do when you're in business. People always think that they should own 100% of the business or over 50% of the business. The reality is that's not what the most successful people in the world do. Most people don't even realize that, like, Elon Musk, one of the most successful people in the world, owns 17% of Tesla. Jeff Bezos owns about 10% of Amazon, and Bill Gates owns about 1% of the shares of Microsoft. These are huge multi-billionaires, and they own less than 20% of their own company. And what that tells me and what that will show you is that in order to build something great, in order to become someone great, you must learn to take the help and guidance and advice of other people. You must bring a lot of talented people in a room and be able to delegate and reward them accordingly in order to grow whatever business that is. Any large corporation in business has a lot of high-level people involved, and these people probably have less than 10% equity in the business in itself. That 10% equity is worth billions, if not multiple millions of dollars, but it's small. And a lot of people are in this mindset that they have to do everything by themselves, and they don't scale their business out because they're too greedy. They don't want to give up 10%, 20%, 30%, 50% of the business that they own. They just want to hold their business for whatever it's worth. This is the biggest thing that you got to understand in business. It's not about owning everything. It's about owning as many things as possible and having some level of equity in businesses that are cash flowing. That's what makes you successful as an entrepreneur. That's what makes you successful in business, because you're able to grow and you're able to have equity in something that is doing well. It doesn't really matter how much equity you have. It matters that you're a part. Now, I'm not trying to get nitty gritty here. It's not about you giving up 99% of your company and maintaining one. It's about you making a fair and reasonable adjustment as somebody with talent comes in. If you see someone that can add value to your business and increase your business, you must allow them to come in and reward them fairly and allow that person to take a percentage of your profit and a percentage of what you're doing for the long-term gain that they're going to grow the company